Sharon Okeefe, Manager, Grower Services, Northern Region, Grains Research and Development Corporation. Welcome to the Digital Farm. You've been in the job now, this exciting job, for about 15 months. Tell us what's been happening and what progress has been made in this important growing region.
Look, GRDC has been an excellent opportunity to me. My background's as an agronomist, so getting to see all the research that GRDC funds and supports across the nation, and my job's to ensure that it delivers in the region to the growers. Research is great, but it needs to have that development and extension right out to the farm level to make a practice change. So yeah, we've had quite a lot going on. We consistently do. We have breeding projects. We also have quite a lot of farming system projects on the go at the moment, as well as in pathology, diseases, agronomy, insects, weeds, and some of the projects I manage are the local grower solutions groups. So that's the Northern Grower Alliance, who look after South East Queensland and Northern New South Wales, as well as Grain Alliance, which is in Central New South Wales, as well as Coastal and Northern Coastal Cropping Solutions, and the DPI's Central Queensland Grower Solutions Group. And all of those groups are about making sure that any issues that a farmer has at field level can be investigated locally and the results put back to them. So yeah, it's a pretty good job for an ex-agro.
Good on you. I understand you're doing some interesting work in the sugarcane country with your coastal growing program. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Look, the Coastal Grower Solutions Group project is about looking at rotations with sugarcane so that we're breaking the monoculture. It does mean that the sugarcane yields better year on year, as well as putting some organic matter and things back into the system by growing nitrogen pulses, as well as being a cash crop for when sugar prices maybe aren't so hot. So the guys up there are doing a lot of local research about how do you fit in and how do you grow in that tropical environment, these sort of pulses.
Fairly important work, and I imagine it's pretty hard to move sugarcane growers from a very fixed generational frame of mind into thinking about some of these pulse crops that they might see as coming from the south.
Oh look, the thing with the Grower Solutions Group's projects is that they're driven locally. So if there's an issue at ground level and the farmer wants to know more, then that's what they're investigating. So as opposed to us sort of putting the research or trying to change their minds. So yeah, some of them were looking for some alternatives to boost their sugarcane yields. So that was why they sort of identified as a gap a lack of mung bean agronomy specific to them, because they are a very different region. So it's all about providing with the grower solutions groups locally what issues and what priorities do they have that would make their farming better, and us putting investments in that locally.
Fantastic. Moving inland from the coast in the northern region, what are the major challenges in 2013 and what other big research projects might be happening?
Oh look, there's always challenges and every season's different. 15 years later I'm still waiting for the normal average season that people talk about. But look, this year was generally characterised by a later start to the season, but some very good subsoil moisture, particularly in any of the flood country. There's been areas further south like the Liverpool Plains certainly had a later start with no really good rainfall over summer. So what we're seeing is in the areas with good rainfall, an increase in winter crop hectares because there was some summer fallows left out. And being a wet and cool season so far, my predictive gaze is towards those diseases that tend to favour these sort of seasons. So we have some really good investments in pathology based out of South East Queensland and New South Wales with their various departments. Those are certainly going to be loving this season as far as getting some really good trial results. Not great for the farmers, but when you're doing disease research, ideal conditions for disease certainly help.
So what then, looking into the future, the GRDC Northern Region, what are the priorities? I mean, apart from extension and getting farmers to adopt new practices and new science, What are the priorities as far as the Northern Region sort of management regime is?
Yeah, look, in the Northern Region, we basically take the view of having a strategic position. So you can't just be reactive to the 1 to 3 or seasonal issues. So there's an investment strategy that the Northern Panel oversee, and they have looked at 8+ year research, so looking at research that's into breeding in our various pre-breeding programs as well as our cooperative programs with various organisations. Then we have the longer term view, pathology, anything to do with entomology, insects, weed science. So those projects are always ongoing. They're always tackling new things, but you look at herbicide resistance, that is one that really shows out from growers. They're concerned. We need research in this area of how to manage our problem weeds, especially without relying on one chemistry. We also have farming systems research, so strategic tillage, looking at, are we going to have to go back to using some strategic tillage to take care of our weed issues? And what impacts does that have as far as yield, moisture, that sort of thing. So we've got a rather large bucket there of research in those areas. And then we've got the 1 to 3, which is more the short turnaround, so that's those grower solutions groups. They're about getting that really nice quick answer back to the growers of what is the best way to manage something like this.
As a former, well, you still are an agronomist, with the GRDC, are you finding that sort of grower groups an interesting and democratic way of a research institute doing business? Look,
well, the grower solutions groups aren't a grower group as such. They're a project that we fund. They have different mechanisms, but basically all of them have a way of getting out to growers and asking the growers to feed back in their issues and problems. Then that comes into a hire committee who have a look and say, well, look, this suits us, or this should go up to the 3 to 8 year research I was talking about, or should be fed back to GRDC. So, yeah, I think everybody has their opportunity to have the say. Then sitting sideways to that, we've obviously got the Northern Panel, and Southern and Western panels as well. So in the Northern Region, you've got the panel who are really looking across that investment strategy. They're talking to growers on the ground. They live in the region. There will be an announcement sometime soon on our new regional panel because we're up for a change this year. And the idea of having them is that they are that safety net. They're not employed by GRDC. They're there because they're passionate about the industry and can really make sure that there's, a ground check. And then my job is to work in with them, but also I'm a staff member, so I'm full-time and always immersed in what research we're currently doing. So, yeah, look, I think we've got a really nice way, and I think that's shown with the results that we get back to farmers, that we're talking to farmers, and if it doesn't deliver to a farmer, what's the point of doing the research?